The war in Ukraine has shattered Europe's illusion of lasting peace. A nuclear power has invaded its neighbor. The continent is facing its greatest security threat since the Cold War. In this time of unprecedented crisis, Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk has issued a stark warning to Europe: increase defense spending now or face dire consequences later. This is not the time for complacency. It is a time for action. Tusk's message is clear. Europe must wake up to the reality of the threat before it's too late. The invasion of Ukraine is a brutal reminder of the fragility of peace. It is a call to action for every European nation. The time for hesitation is over. Tusk's plea resonates with a sense of urgency. He is not alone in his assessment. Leaders across Europe are beginning to acknowledge the gravity of the situation. The security architecture of Europe has been shaken to its core. The need for a strong and united response has never been greater. Poland stands as a stark example for other European nations. The country has consistently exceeded NATO's defense spending target of 2% of GDP. In fact, Poland currently allocates a staggering 4.7% of its GDP to defense. This commitment to military readiness underscores the seriousness with which Poland views the current geopolitical climate. This level of investment is not a matter of choice for Poland, it is a necessity. Located on the front lines of NATO's eastern flank, Poland shares a border with both Russia and Belarus. The country's history is tragically marked by repeated invasions. The lessons of the past weigh heavily on Poland's strategic calculations. Poland's commitment to defense is not a sign of aggression, it is an act of self-preservation. It is a recognition that peace cannot be taken for granted, it must be actively defended. Poland understands this fundamental truth. Other European nations must follow suit. Russia's invasion of Ukraine is not an isolated incident. It is part of a pattern of aggression that has been building for years. From the invasion of Georgia in 2008 to the annexation of Crimea in 2014, Russia has consistently demonstrated its willingness to use military force to achieve its geopolitical objectives. Despite these clear warning signs, Europe failed to take meaningful action to deter further Russian aggression. The response to the annexation of Crimea was weak and ineffective. Sanctions were limited. Military support for Ukraine was minimal. This lack of resolve only emboldened Putin. The invasion of Ukraine should serve as a wake-up call for Europe. Russia's actions are a threat to the entire continent. Ignoring this threat will not make it disappear. On the contrary, it will only encourage further aggression. In the face of Russian aggression, transatlantic unity is more important than ever. A strong and united front between Europe and the United States is essential to deterring further aggression and defending the rules-based international order. However, recent developments have raised concerns about the strength of the transatlantic alliance. The US decision to initiate bilateral talks with Russia on ending the Ukraine war without European or Ukrainian participation has caused unease among some European leaders. While the US has provided significant military and financial assistance to Ukraine, there are concerns that the US commitment to European security may be waning. The recent criticism of European democracies by US Vice President J.D. Vance has further fueled these concerns. Section 5. A divided Europe navigating differing stances on troop deployment. The war in Ukraine has exposed divisions within Europe over how to respond to Russian aggression. While there is broad agreement on the need for increased defense spending and support for Ukraine, there are differing views on the deployment of troops. Polish Prime Minister Tusk has ruled out sending Polish troops to Ukraine, offering logistical support instead. French President Macron, on the other hand, has expressed support for sending troops. UK Labour Party leader Starmer has also indicated a willingness to deploy British troops. German Chancellor Scholz has taken a more cautious approach, stating that he is open to sending troops if a framework is established. However, he has insisted on European involvement in any talks with Russia. Section 6. The price of inaction, a perilous gamble for Europe. Failing to increase defense spending now would be a grave mistake with far-reaching consequences. It would send a dangerous message of weakness and division to Russia, emboldening Putin and increasing the likelihood of further aggression. Moreover, inadequate defense spending would leave Europe vulnerable to a wide range of threats, including not only conventional military aggression but also cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, and economic coercion. The costs of inaction far outweigh the costs of investment. Increased defense spending is not an expense. It is an investment in peace and security. It is an investment in the future of Europe. Section 7. Echoes of History. Appeasement and its disastrous consequences. Europe has been down this road before. In the 1930s, the failure of European powers to confront Nazi Germany's aggression early on only emboldened Hitler and paved the way for the horrors of World War II. The lessons of history are clear. Appeasement does not work. It only emboldens aggressors and makes conflict more likely. Europe must not repeat the mistakes of the past. It must stand firm against Russian aggression and defend the principles of democracy, freedom, and the rule of law. Section 8. A call for leadership from words to action. Poland's call for increased defense spending is a call for leadership. It is a call for Europe to finally take responsibility for its own security. It is time for European nations to move beyond rhetoric and take concrete action. This means not only increasing defense budgets, but also strengthening European defense cooperation, developing a more robust European defense industrial base, and working closely with NATO allies, particularly the United States. Section 9. The future of Europe. A defining moment. The war in Ukraine is a defining moment for Europe. The choices made today will shape the continent's future for generations to come. Europe can choose to stand united and strong in the face of Russian aggression, or it can choose to remain divided and weak, risking further conflict and instability. The stakes could not be higher. The time for action is now. Europe must heed Poland's call and rise to the challenge. The future of the continent depends on it.